The next day was Saturday. Around noon, Jasmine called and asked me to go shopping with her for flowers for her house. She wanted me to decorate her living room with handmade floral arrangements. I knew that she was trying to encourage me because my gift baskets didn't sell so well. But the problem was that I didn't have a babysitter for Miranda, and shopping with my 2-year-old was always tough. Well, Lyndon's keeping the boys for me while I shop. Why don't you ask Marcus to keep Miranda? Jasmine asked. Marcus is still at work right now, I said. Besides, he probably wouldn't keep her anyway. What? Are you telling me that Marcus never keeps his own child? Jasmine protested. Doesn't he realize that you deserve a break too? I didn't know how to reply to Jasmine's question. Besides, my comment about Marcus not keeping Miranda had kind of slipped out of my mouth anyway. That's ridiculous, Nikita. Besides, I really wanted a centerpiece for my coffee table, Jasmine explained. I guess we're going to just have to bring Miranda along with us, she said. I'll be there shortly to pick you guys up. After we hung up the telephone, I got Miranda's shoes and socks. Then, while Miranda sat in her high chair in the kitchen, I combed her hair. I thought about what Jasmine had said and realized that she was right. I needed a break sometime. Moments later, after finishing Miranda's hair, I heard the garage door opening and knew that Marcus was home. I was just about to ask Marcus to keep Miranda when Jasmine pulled into our driveway and blew her horn. Marcus, I'm going shopping, so I need you to watch Miranda till I get back, I said. Excuse me, Marcus yelled. But I didn't entertain his yelling. I grabbed my purse and headed out the door. Then I got in the car with Jasmine. Hey, girl, Jasmine said as I got in. I see Marcus is home, she said, noticing Marcus standing in the doorway with an angry look on his face. He doesn't want to keep Miranda, does he? Nope. But you know what, Jazz? He's mad at me anyway because I won't let him drive my new car, I said. And now he's the one having the car problems, I laughed. Jasmine smiled and shook her head. But you know what, Jasmine? I said in a more solemn voice. It gets deeper. Sometimes I think Marcus is jealous that I started my own business. What do you mean? She asked. For one thing, he's talking about starting his own business now, which is good and all, but it feels more like he's in competition with me than anything else. Maybe it's just your imagination, Nikita. I hope so, I said, watching Marcus as he stood in the doorway with anger in his eyes. But I really need a break from Marcus, I sighed. So let's get out of here, please. Jasmine cranked up her car and then slowly backed out of our driveway. I know one thing, Nikita, she said. You and your mother did an outstanding job with your flowers. They are beautiful. I want my lawn landscaped like yours, she added. Ask your mom to help me with my lawn too, okay? Sure, Jazz, I'll ask her. That afternoon, Jasmine and I had a ball together. It was like old times. We had no children with us, so we were free like a couple of birds. But, on the other hand, freedom for me always seemed to have a price. When Jasmine and I returned to my house, I wanted to cry. Because while we were gone, Marcus was so angry with me, he had taken a shovel and uprooted every flower my mother and I ever planted. I was mortified. It literally looked like a tornado had torn through our property, ripping up plants, lava rock, and topsoil as it plowed through. As Jasmine and I sat in the car, observing the massacre, our eyes were as big as saucers. What the hell is going on? Jasmine exclaimed. Nikita, girl, we've been friends since New Edition's Cool It Now album, she said. This is awful. I need you to talk to me. Please tell me, Nikita, what's going on? I didn't know what to say to Jasmine, and the longer I sat there, the angrier I became. Jasmine, I don't know what happened to the man I fell in love with, I said, pointing towards my house, but that man is a narcissistic fool, I shouted. A what? She asked. He makes me sick, Jazz, I proclaimed. Wait here. I'll be right back. Wait a minute, Keita. Don't go inside angry, Jazz said, but it was too late. Before she could stop me, I had opened the car door and began walking fast-paced towards my house. Nikita, Jasmine yelled, trying to get out of her car fast enough. Nikita, she yelled again. When Jasmine realized that I was not turning back, she stood beside her car and waited. She stood there, battling with thoughts of whether she should barge into our house or just stay put. But when she heard Marcus and me yelling at the top of our lungs, she then decided that it was better to stay outside. Now, normally, I never wanted Miranda to see her father and me argue, but this time, I was so mad I could have punched a hole in the wall. One thing about it, though, God always has a way of diffusing a situation, because in the midst of our yelling, Miranda ran out of her room and began scolding Marcus and me. "No fighting, no biting," she said, using my own words against me. "No fighting, no biting, Mama." At that point, I didn't say another word. I grabbed Miranda by her little hand and escorted her to her room. When we were inside her room, I closed the door behind us and then burst into tears. "Don't cry, Mama," she said, patting me on the leg. "Don't cry." After an experience like that, a normal person would have just let it go. But Marcus laughed about the whole thing. Then he walked out the front door and slammed it. It was then that he realized that Jasmine was still parked in our driveway. "Marcus!" Jasmine yelled, motioning her finger for him to come to her car. "Come here!" she scolded. Marcus then walked over to Jasmine's car, peacefully as though nothing had ever happened. "Why did you destroy Nikita's flowers?" she asked. "Did you hear how she was yelling at me?" Marcus asked, answering the question with the question. "I think those fibroids are making her crazy," he said. "Wait a minute now, Marcus. I had fibroids, and I'm not crazy," Jasmine protested. "Besides, if you had ripped up my garden, I would have yelled at you too." "Come on, Jasmine. I'm going to plant more flowers," Marcus laughed. "Well, you should, because you know better," she said. "You knew that Nikita and her mother were starting a business together." I have a business," Marcus said, sounding like a jealous 5-year-old. "Please, Marcus, don't tell me you're jealous." "Of course not," he laughed. "Then you better fix this," Jasmine insisted. "Now, can I please go inside and check on my friend?" "Go ahead," Marcus replied. "I was about to leave anyway."